Hi, we're reading Dory Fantasmagory by Abby Hanlon, and we left off on chapter 5. Okay. Chapter 5, Time Out. When we get home from the doctor, I am in huge trouble. My mom tells me I have to go to my room for time out. I say, "You can just leave my dog food in a bowl outside my door. Woof!" This makes my mom so mad that she grabs my paw and drags me up the stairs. "Walk," she says. "I am," I cry. "On 2 legs," my mom yells. Alone in my room, I suddenly don't feel like being a dog at all. I've got too many problems as a dog. I show Mary my wound. She feels so bad for me. I put my nightgown back on, and then I open my bedroom door a tiny bit. I can hear my family talking about me in the kitchen. "Rascal gave the doctor a shot," Luke says, laughing. "She is out of control," Violet says. She is laughing too. Then I hear an unfamiliar voice. "And she still got a lollipop?" says the voice. Who is that? It sounded like a wicked old, "Huh?" Was that Mrs. Gobblegracker? I do not believe it. I walk closer to the stairs to hear better. All she could do was bark. "I've never been so embarrassed in my life," says my mom. "How babyish," laughs the voice. Now I'm sure it is Mrs. Gobblegracker. Are they all sitting around the kitchen table together and laughing at me? And it sounds like they're eating popcorn. "Time out is just what she needs," says my mom. "I agree. Keep her locked up," grumbles Mrs. Gobblegracker with her mouth full of popcorn. I run back to my room to tell Mary. "Mrs. Gobblegracker is downstairs eating popcorn with my family." "Popcorn!" "What's the big deal about popcorn?" asks Mary. "She's eating popcorn with my family." If Mary doesn't understand, I can't explain it. "What are you going to do?" asks Mary. "No more hiding, no more disguises, no more tricks," I yell. "Something serious has to be done." "Like what?" she says. "Give me that banana. I'm calling Mr. Nuggie." "Hello? Hi, it's me. Mrs. Gobblegracker is eating popcorn with my family." "Yes, I said popcorn. I can't believe it either. So can you please come back?" Whoa, that was fast. Mr. Nuggie crawls in the window and wipes his muddy boots. "Thanks so much for coming." Ingredients. "I've brought ingredients for a poison soup," he says. "This is how we get rid of Mrs. Gobblegracker. Permanently." "What will happen when she eats the soup?" I ask. "Well, first she will choke a little bit, and then feathers will come out of her ears, and then her eyeballs will turn into gloppy yogurt, and then she'll drop dead." "Oh," I say, hugging him, "you are the best fairy godmother in the world." But something isn't quite right. "I don't mean to be picky," I say, "but could you try and look a little more like a fairy godmother?" "What do you have in mind?" he asks. I run to my closet to get some dress-up clothes. Perfect. Next, we make signs for the door because Mr. Nuggie says we need privacy to make our soup. After we hang the signs, there's a knock on the door. It's Luke. "Mom said, can you come out of time out now?" "No, thanks," I say, and shut the door. Time out is turning out to be way too much fun. We don't want any more interruptions, so we decide to send Mary out to be our spy. Tell us if she's coming and wear this wig, I say, and give her a push out the door. Now that it's quiet, Mr. Nuggie and I finally start cooking. We make the deadliest, most delicious poison soup for Mrs. Gobblegracker's dinner. Yuck! She'll love it. Ingredients: black olives, electricity, dead wolf juice, blood tubes and tailbones, all the rotten parts of the apples in the world, and of course, chicken broth. When the soup is ready, we carry it down to the kitchen while Mary keeps Mrs. Gobblegracker distracted. Then Mr. Nuggie and I gather materials for the giant fort where we can hide until dinner time while Mary keeps a lookout. We grab the blankets and sheets and pillows off the beds and collect all the rugs we can and towels and laundry and bath mats and put them in a big pile surrounded by chairs. And we even have to move some tables and put the chairs on the tables, and we tie the whole thing up with a huge roll of ribbon. And the amazing thing is that we did this without my mom even noticing because she is on the phone. "Dinner is ready," calls my mom from the kitchen. Of course, Mrs. Gobblegracker is the first to arrive. "Okay, now's your chance," I tell Mr. Nuggie. "Go talk to her." From the fort, I can hear them in the kitchen. "Good evening, Mrs. Gobblegracker." "Is that you, Nuggie? Nice dress." "Thank you. I have an important message from Dory. You remember Dory, the baby you are coming for. She has agreed to go with you. Back to your cave forever." "Great, because I almost forgot what I was doing here. Dory is just what I wanted." "But after dinner," he says. "No problem," she says. "I'm starving." Now that it's safe for me to leave my hiding spot, I come to the table for dinner. I sit next to Mrs. Gobblegracker because I don't want to miss the moment when she chokes on her poisoned soup and drops dead. He, he, he. Mr. Nuggie and I make polite conversation. "Do you like ice cream?" I ask Mrs. Gobblegracker. "I can't think of anything more disgusting," she says. "Do you have a cell phone?" asked Mr. Nuggie. "No, but I really, really want one," she says. "Can you get me one?" Um, says Mr. Nuggie, looking unsure what to say next. "Do you have a cat?" I interrupt. "I ate my cat," she says. "It was an accident." "Oh, then I guess you aren't a vegetarian," I say. "Yes," she says. "I would eat a vegetarian. Is that what we're having for dinner tonight?" "We're having soup," says Mr. Nuggie. "Just soup." Everything is going smoothly until my dad comes home from work and sits on Mrs. Gobblegracker. "Watch out! Can't you see this seat is taken?" "It is?" says my dad, looking confused. "You are sitting on Mrs. Gobblegracker," I tell him. "Can you please move?" "It's been a long day," says my mom to my dad. At least everybody is at the table and sitting in their proper seat. Mr. Nuggie serves the soup. Mrs. Gobblegracker picks up her spoon and tastes her soup. I hope she likes it. Wow, I think it's going to work. She looks, oh my, not dead. I don't believe it. Yum. Delicious, says Mrs. Gobblegracker, spooning more into her mouth as it drips down her chin. The soup is a disaster. Nothing happens. No feathers in her ears, no yogurty eyeballs. This is the end of me. Mr. Nuggie whispers to me, "I'm so sorry. I must have forgotten an ingredient." "Ouch!" screams Mrs. Gobblegracker. Mary bit her ankle under the table. Thanks for trying, Mary, I say, but nothing can save me now. Mrs. Gobblegracker will probably bring me to her cave, I think, and put water in my cereal instead of milk, and put me to bed too early, and not let me jump on her couch, and she won't take me to the library, and she'll eat all my Halloween candy, and she'll always forget to buy bubble bath, and she'll put soggy sandwiches in my lunchbox, and she'll say my nightgowns are too small and give them away to little kids, and right when it's time to light my birthday candles, she won't be able to find matches. And she might even cook me in a big pot. I'll miss you all. I tell my family, I was such a great kid, and now I'm going to be taken away forever. Bye, says Violet. So long, says Luke. As I'm being carried away, out of the corner of my eye, I notice baby Cherry in her cradle in the living room. Suddenly, I realize I don't need anyone's help. I can save myself. I wiggle out of Mrs. Gobblegracker's arms and run to pick up baby Cherry. I hold her up high so Mrs. Gobblegracker can get a good look. She stares at Cherry, and she stares at me, then back to Cherry, then back to me. I take a deep breath and try to look very grown up. Humph, she says, grabbing Cherry from me. I open the door for her, and just like that, Mrs. Gobblegracker walks out the door with stupid old baby Cherry. Take her. She's quieter and cuter. We're free! Yippee! Then I hear screaming. It's my mom. She found my giant fort. Rascal! What is this mess? When did you do this? Clean this up right now. Chapter 6. Bouncy Ball. It takes a really long time to clean up the fort because I keep forgetting that I'm cleaning up. Rascal, bedtime, calls my mom. Brush your teeth. As I brush my teeth, I say goodnight to Mr. Nuggie. He has changed back into his regular clothes and is rushing home to see his wife. Good night. That's when Violet bursts into the bathroom crying. I can't find Cherry anywhere, she says, and I've looked everywhere. She's gone. Gulp. Uh-oh. Where is that doll? I'll be right back, I say. I tiptoe downstairs and into the dark living room. Oh, where did I put Cherry? I gave her to Mrs. Gobblegracker, of course. But what did I really actually do with her? Think, I tell myself. I check all the usual places: the fridge, the toilet, the dishwasher, the garbage, under the couch, in the couch, under the rug, upstairs, in every drawer, under the beds, in the tub. After looking everywhere, I found 2 quarters, a silver button, a Hello Kitty eraser, a bunch of Legos, a moldy cookie, Cherry's shoe, Violet's rainbow bouncy ball. But no Cherry. I put the bouncy ball in my pocket. I'm so tired. I give up. Cherry is definitely not in this house. Well, if she's not in this house, where is she? Did someone take her? But who would take her besides Mrs. Oh, no. Ah! If Cherry is really gone forever, does that mean Mrs. Gobblegracker is real? My dad hears my scream and comes running. Why are you screaming like a maniac? You're going to wake up the whole neighborhood. Cut this out right now and go to bed. Ah! He drags me by the arm. We're done with you for the day, rascal. Everybody is done with you. Got it? Ah! Stop screaming, screams my dad. She was real, I scream. Okay, calm down. She was real, whatever you say, says my dad, dragging me down the hallway to my room. Just go to bed. Even my dad said she's real. I have to be brave, I say, clinging to him. No, you have to go to bed, he says, dropping me on my bed. Stay in bed, he says, pointing his finger at me. Then he tucks me in tight. Because it's not safe for you to come out, he says as he shuts my door, and I think I hear him laugh a tiny bit. I fake sleep for a few minutes, and then when I'm sure my dad is back downstairs, I sneak out of my room. I'm going to tell Violet the truth. That Cherry is gone forever, and it's all my fault. And even though I know she'll want to kill me, she doesn't have to even bother. Because Mrs. Gobblegracker is probably coming back for me. I have an idea. After I tell her the bad news, I'll give Violet her old bouncy ball. That might make her feel a little better. Violet, I say quietly, clutching the bouncy ball tightly behind my back. What? She says. There is something I have to tell you. I. But then I don't believe what I see. My mouth drops open. Is that Cherry? Lying right there next to Violet? How did she get there? I ask. Oh, Luke found her when he snuck outside to catch fireflies, says Violet. I must have left her on the front stoop, but I don't know when. Oh, I say quietly, but inside my head my thoughts are loud. Oh, the stoop, of course! I threw her out the front door when Mrs. Gobblegracker was leaving. What did you want to tell me? Violet asks. Oh, yeah, that. Well, I say, climbing into her bed and tucking myself into her cozy, warm covers. Well, Mrs. Gobblegracker isn't real after all, I say. I know. I'm the one who made her up, stupid. You did? Oh, yeah, I say. Thanks, Violet. That was a fun game. But it got a little scary at the end. I'm so happy that I get to stay home in this cozy little house with my family after all. Good night, I say to Violet. Good night, she says, giving me a little shove. Now get into your own bed. Before I get out of her bed, I hide the rainbow bouncy ball under Violet's pillow as a secret little gift. The next morning is Saturday, and our parents are still asleep. Luke and Violet are playing with the bouncy ball that Violet found under her pillow. They are laughing as the ball hits the ceiling and flies off the walls, hitting them on their heads. Let's bounce it on the stairs, says Luke. On the stairs, they are laughing even harder. Boy, do I wish I could play. Suddenly, it's quiet. I run upstairs to go look. The bouncy ball bounced into the toilet. Luke and Violet stand over the toilet, staring down at the sunken ball. What should we do? Shrieks Violet. Are we in trouble? Asks Luke. We'll have to get it out, says Violet. How do we do that? Asks Luke. And then they both turn around to find me behind them, watching, smiling. Rascal will get it, right, Rascal? Says Violet, nodding her head yes. Right away, I roll up my nightgown sleeve and stick my arm deep into the bottom of the toilet. Luke and Violet cringe and cover their eyes and make gagging noises. Here it is, I say, holding up the bouncy ball, my arm dripping toilet water. Violet squeezes practically the whole bottle of foamy soap on my arm and helps me wash my hands in the ball. Thanks, Rascal, says Violet. You saved the bouncy ball. I am so happy. I am beaming. We all agree we don't need to tell Mom and Dad. All day, all I can think about is the bouncy ball. Every time I think about it, I feel so proud. Remember when I saved the bouncy ball? I ask Violet. Uh-huh, she says. After dinner, Luke says, Rascal, close your eyes and open your hand. My whole life, I've always wanted someone to say this to me. Before I can even open my eyes, I know exactly what it is. It's the rainbow bouncy ball. You can borrow it, Rascal, Violet says. It's not to keep. Really? I say, really? Since you saved it, she says. I hug Luke and Violet. Let's play, says Luke. Yeah, says Violet, bounce it. I try and think of the best bouncy ball game I can think of. I hold the bouncy ball very tightly, close my eyes, and concentrate. All these pictures come rushing into my brain at once. Okay, I got it. The ball is really a poison gum ball, and if it hits the ceiling, it explodes and hot lava pours out of it, and we all melt. And when we melt, we turn back into cavemen, and Mrs. Gobblegracker lives in the cave next door, and she... No, not Mrs. Gobblegracker again, says Violet. Okay, I say, but everything else? They agree. Okay, everything else, they say. My brother and my sister and I play bouncy ball. I run like a maniac to catch the ball, running into walls and screaming as it bonks me in the head. When the ball hits the ceiling, we explode. I'm jumping up and down and making loud crashing sounds, the kind of sounds the earth makes when it blows up. I leap onto Luke to protect myself from the hot lava. Hot lava is spilling all over the floor. It's bubbling everywhere. We jump on the couch and move the pillows around so that we have a secret cave. Now we are cave people. Violet is the cave mummy, of course, and Luke is the caveman daddy hunter, and guess who gets to be the cave baby? Me! And I'm the cutest little cave baby. Goo goo gaga boo goo. The end. All right, friends, thank you for listening to Dory Fantasmagory. We finished the book, and if you're able to, please subscribe, please like this video, please share it with your friends, and if you want to reach out to me, it's rozreads1@gmail.com. Thank you. Bye.